also discuss real estate. We've got with us Irfan Razack, the chairman and MD at Prestige Estates, joining in on the show right now. Mr. Razack, morning. How is the demand-supply situation currently panning out in the real estate market, and what then would you say is the outlook as far as 2019 is concerned?
Good morning. Actually, I would say the 2019 outlook will be pretty positive. The supply is coming in slowly because of now the new environment that we are in with the RERA regime. So all the supply will start coming in only once the projects are registered with RERA with all approvals. So that brings a lot of stability into the market. And on the demand front, it's a pretty steady demand. There is buying activity, and I believe between now, since the supply is got regulated and the demand is also pretty steady, there is good traction in the market, and 2019 would be a great year.
Okay. You're also looking at scaling up and expanding operations into the Mumbai and Pune markets. What led to entering into these markets, and when are the launches expected?
See, Pune, we are not doing any residential per se at the moment. We are doing an IT park which has now got approved, and that will be not for sale. Mostly it will be for build and lease model, and we've got all the approvals, and very soon we'll be starting construction there. It's 800,000 square feet IT park. It's a joint development. Mumbai, yes, we have tied up a couple of properties for residential, and the whole idea is to expand and look at newer geographies and expanding the company's business. We believe that there's a lot of scope and there's a lot of advantage being in the Mumbai market. So we have moved in there. We've tied up the land. Approval process is on, and very soon, once the approvals come in, we get registered with the RERA authorities. Will be doing the launch. Now the question is when is something that we are working hard on. Hopefully in the next 2 quarters we should have a launch in Mumbai.
You had earlier provided a guidance of about 3,500 to 4,000 crore rupees for FY19. Any changes with that guidance and any chances of outperformance on the other hand?
I think we are pretty steady. We'll reach that guidance and maybe cross it a bit. But so far the 3 quarters that have gone by have been pretty strong. And the current quarter also looks quite good, and we seem to be on course to hit that target, and we may exceed it slightly, but then that is depending on what new launches we can get quickly in this quarter. But looking at the overall scenario, I think we should hit the target pretty easily.
Talk to us about the projects in the pipeline and the status for the same.
No, there are several projects in the pipeline in different cities. Bangalore itself, we got a couple of large projects that we are working on, but they are all in the process of development, approval, and all of it. In fact, we are working on a pretty large development called the Prestige Smart City, which it's all now fully designed. It's a combination of plotted development, affordable housing, villa, and some retail, and that's in Sarjapur, and that's a large township of 185 acres. Apart from that, we are working on a project in Bangalore called Finsbury Park, which is again under approval, again under the PMA scheme. Hopefully the approval should come this month, and there are several others. I mean, difficult to recount everything, but I think these are the 2 big ones. Apart from in Mumbai, we are doing the Jastan Classic, which is in Baikala, which is also almost approved. Even don't think it will hit this quarter, but surely the following quarter we should be able to launch it.
Just stay with us and just for a second or so, but we've got those live visuals coming in from the halwa ceremony. Remember, the union budget before it is presented is by the finance minister in the parliament is shrouded under this cloak of secrecy. The whole exercise kicks off with this customary ritual of the halwa ceremony, which you can see currently on your screens. Of course, the finance minister is absent from this occasion, and there you can see the Indian dessert, which is distributed amongst the finance ministry staff right now, after which the budget gets locked and sealed, and I think the papers, or rather the budget draft, only gets out on Feb 1st when it is presented in Parliament post today. But moving on, Mr. Razack, you had earlier set that target of 2,000 crore rupees on your rental income as well by 2020. Are you on track to achieve the same?
Yeah, I think they will exceed that, because that's where now we've really scaled up. We've got 3 developments which are under construction in the IT space in Bangalore, and I told you about Pune, which we are going to start work very soon. In Ahmedabad, in Gift City, our building is getting ready. Now, with all this coming up and the current rentals and the general market rental itself, the rates have pushed up, and the vacancies are near zero, we'll actually exceed that target, and we're pretty bullish about it. We have something like about 6 million square feet under production, and all this will add up to the kitty. Apart from that, on the retail side, we have opened the Prestige Shantiniketan Forum in a couple of months ago. Now that's also trading well. We are just waiting for the last bit of licenses like cinema, etc., which should start trading this month. And even on the retail portfolio, this is growing. We've got another 2-3 assets which are under construction, which should be ready by 2020. And even that will add up to the rental portfolio of the company.
Mr. Razack, there is buzz of a cut on GST when it comes to the real estate sector. How much of an impact do you see of such a development helping the sector, which is currently facing a fair number of headwinds and challenges?
Now, this GST is a major debate that's been going on in the industry, amongst the consumers. Currently, it's at 12% on the entire cost to the consumer, and plus the consumer also has to pay the stamp duty apart from the GST itself. For the developer, currently what happens is the developers got the advantage of taking the input credit benefit. In a way, that's the overall ethos of GST, where the VATable benefit of the taxes happens, and the cascading effect doesn't affect the total cost. But having said that, now there is a move now to say that GST they should be brought down to a certain much lower percentage, but then the government is also thinking of not giving the input credit. But the input credit is not given. What really happens is the cost goes up for the developer. So on the face of it, if you're giving a break on the rate itself, if the cost goes up because the developer can't get the benefit of the input credit, it has to get rolled up, and again it will hit the consumer, if not directly, in an indirect manner. So I think the policymakers have to look at it in a larger perspective when they are talking of housing for all. How not to tax the product which is churning the market, which is providing the employment, which is churning the GDP, and also at the same time see the consumer gets an affordable house. Maybe they could do it on a slab basis, on a cost of the house. The more expensive the house, tax it a little more, and the lesser the price of the house, maybe tax it a little less. But that's a debate now. It's gone to the Council of Ministers for them to take a decision. These are my thoughts personally, and I believe if the industry has to be encouraged, if the consumer has to benefit on buying a house, somehow the cost has to be brought down to the consumer. We as developers have done our bit. We are working on very thin margins, at times single-digit margins, and I don't think we can do anything more than what we've done. Now, somehow the cascading effect of taxes have to be controlled. And if that is done, the consumer is the one that's the beneficiary, and they will be able to realize their dream of buying a house.
Right. Mr. Razack, good to have you on the show as always. Thanks much for really giving us clarity on how 2019 is likely to shape up, not just for the real estate sector, but Prestige in particular.